Donal has taken it upon himself to run the great project that I think is going to have a huge impact on politics in this country, and that is the Margaret Thatcher Museum and Library. And I know that for many years this has been something that Donal has cared about enormously, and I don't exaggerate when I say there simply is nobody, and I mean that, there is nobody that could possibly run this project as well as Donal. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please give Donal Blaney a very big round of applause.
Friends, fellow Thatcherites, I've always wondered what it would be like to hear a eulogy given at one's own funeral, and I think I now know who it is that wants to do it. So I've already appointed the executors of my will, and I will be instructing them to give the eulogy when I pass. This is the first time that I've attended a Freedom Association event of this nature. But it's not the first Freedom Association event that I attended. I've attended one Freedom Association event before, and that was one of your pub quizzes. And my team won that pub quiz. So needless to say, I'm not coming back because I want to keep the 100% record at the pub quiz. But Simon, you were incredibly gracious in your comments about me, and from the bottom of my heart, I want to reciprocate. The work that the Freedom Association has done over the last 40 years has been absolutely instrumental in keeping the flame of freedom alive in this country, within the Conservative Party, and beyond. Simon, as you all know, is one of the soundest people that any of you will get the pleasure of meeting. He is also, without doubt, one of the nicest and most genuine in politics, which is a very nasty business. And usually nice people like Simon get swallowed up, but thankfully that hasn't happened. Simon, your leadership of the Freedom Association and of the movement, the work that you've done on campuses in particular, has been stellar, and I don't think you actually get enough thanks for that. So please can everyone join me in thanking Simon. There's a reason we're here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason why we've given up a weekend in October, while it's peeing down with rain outside, to stand around and hear a few of us speak. We all wish to remember Margaret Thatcher with great fondness. We are here to toast her memory. We miss her. My God, the country could really do with her form of leadership right now. But we're here for one purpose, I hope, commonly, which is to redouble our efforts to secure her legacy. We need to stop history being written by those who despised her, by those who were her enemies at the time, and who see it as their place now to make sure that she is traduced for all eternity. I do mean in that the BBC and the left-wing media, and I particularly mean people within our education system. I don't want Meryl Streep's impressive performance to be her lasting legacy among the eyes of ordinary people around the world. You could sense a real shock and disappointment, I think, during the week after Lady Thatcher's death among the liberal intelligentsia, that there weren't more protests on the street, that there weren't more people expressing the kind of hateful comments that Glenda Jackson, among others, were only too willing to espouse. Yes, there was that disgusting campaign to have the song from The Wizard of Oz reach up the charts. But whenever I have a time where I think, is this a project that's really worth dedicating my life to in the way that I intend to? All I need to do is remind myself of comments from people like Chris Herriot, a Labour council candidate, fired this week, but not condemned by Ed Miliband, who is a lecturer at a university, who said this, and I quote, and I apologise that this is in the language it is, but I think it's important to quote it. He said, quotes, "The bitch is dead. I could leave it at that, but I'm not going to, because I want to revel in the moment. Colleagues ask me, why am I so bitter about Margaret Thatcher? I mean, she's not exactly Stalin or Hitler. No, you're right, I say. She didn't have the opportunity to murder millions, But she would have done had she needed to in pursuit of her agenda. This is someone who is educating your children and grandchildren. That is why we do what we do, to keep Margaret Thatcher's legacy preserved. Now, we know there are a number of exciting projects going on, and we had the privilege of going to Grantham Museum today to look at the fantastic work that they're doing, and I'm very excited in particular about the statue that will be appearing outside the museum. Boris, gotta love him, has decided there's going to be a statue of Lady Thatcher. I guess if he wants it, it's going to happen. There's a programme to have some scholarships, some Rhodes Fulbright-style scholarships at Oxford University. But the project that's designed to secure her political legacy is one that I've been working on for the last 4 years, the Margaret Thatcher Centre. Now, it's based on something in Santa Barbara, California, which if you haven't been there, I'd encourage you to go. It doesn't have weather quite like this, and it's where Ronald Reagan's ranch is. And Young America's Foundation, which works with young Americans to convert them to conservatism, bought Ronald Reagan's ranch. It saved it for the nation. And in downtown Santa Barbara, they've developed a 25,000 square foot schoolhouse for Reaganism, a place where the young and the general public can come and learn about Ronald Reagan. And one day I was sat talking with my good friend Connor Burns, saying, "My God, this is magnificent, Connor, you've got to come and see this place." And in one of those awful moments, we had a discussion where we said that we needed something like this in this country. And before I knew what had happened, I volunteered to do it. Now, it's a project that Mark Worthington and Connor discussed with Lady Thatcher. And as you may have seen, in April, shortly after Lady Thatcher's death, we went public with it. It's secured the backing of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, Rupert Murdoch. Within the Cabinet, we've got Eric Pickles and Patrick McLaughlin and David Jones backing it. From the past, whether they'd see themselves as the past, I'm not sure, Norman Tebbit and Cecil Parkinson and Tim Bell and Lord Saatchi. And in the United States, we've been privileged to get the support of Newt Gingrich, President Bush, Ed Fulner at the Heritage Foundation, and the Republican Party leadership in Congress. This is a project that people want to happen. And why is that? Well, I think it's right that we look backwards, to remember Lady Thatcher with fondness, to reminisce and reflect. And I'm sure after a few glasses this evening, we'll be in full reflecting mode and setting the world to rights. And yes, there are old battles that need to be refought, and we do need to honour some of the glorious victories that occurred in the 1980s. But that is not what the Margaret Thatcher Centre will be. It is not a shrine, it is not going to be a cult, and it is not, in the words of The Guardian describing my Young Britain's Foundation, it is not going to be a madrasa. It will be a place for people of all ages and backgrounds to learn about Lady Thatcher's life, values and achievements. But it must be objective for it to have any credibility in the marketplace, and of course for us to stand any chance of securing charitable status. It will have a particular focus at Lady Thatcher's insistence on the young people in Britain, young people across the Anglosphere, and obviously in particular in the United States, across the Commonwealth and across Central and Eastern Europe. It will be a forward-looking project. The Centre will of course build on the work of the Young Britain's Foundation. We will train future leaders, we will develop their skills, their life skills, in a manner similar to Swinton College. Some of you may recall Swinton College as being a residential training college in the north that people had an opportunity to go to. Lady Thatcher herself spoke about it warmly in her autobiography. There will be a real focus on academic scholarship. We've secured a tie-up with Churchill College, with the party archives at the Bodleian. Ministers have volunteered to provide some of their papers so that we can put them on display. And we've got very close links now with the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and also the Reagan Ranch itself. But central to this project will be a 20,000 square foot exhibit gallery that will bring Lady Thatcher and Thatcherism to life. I don't know how many of you have ever been to a presidential library in the United States or been to George Washington's home at Mount Vernon, just outside Washington, DC. But they have a fantastic way of weaving you literally through the life of the person in question. through interactive, innovative and stimulating museum exhibits. So we will do that. We will take you through the various aspects of Lady Thatcher's life throughout that magnificent space that we are working to secure. There will be sponsorship opportunities for each of the various exhibits, be it focusing on the way that Lady Thatcher stopped George Bush from going wobbly over the Gulf War, focusing on the Bruges speech, focusing on the importance of think tanks and organisations such as the Freedom Association in Lady Thatcher's philosophy. This project is going to be based, ideally, in Cambridge. We're looking to raise, sharp intake of breath, £25 million in the United States and in Great Britain. We have a charity already in the United States for this purpose and have secured pledges of in excess of 7 figures. But I'm pleased to announce that we're launching some of the programmes today, and I wanted to make that announcement here at this Freedom Association event on the anniversary of Lady Thatcher's birth tomorrow. We are going to do a symposium focusing on the 25th anniversary of Nigel Lawson's 1988 budget, which will be perhaps a useful reminder of the salutary lessons that can be drawn from cutting taxes. We'll be launching some projects in Central and Eastern Europe early next year to focus on the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall and Lady Thatcher's, of course, instrumental role alongside President Reagan and the Pope in freeing 500 million people from the yoke of socialism. We'll be focusing on some workshops starting on Lady Thatcher's speeches and publishing a book of her speeches in the new year. And we'll also be launching a transatlantic leadership programme bringing together future leaders from Britain, the United States and Canada. We're also going to be launching today an organisation called the Pioneers. And you'll see a leaflet will be made available to you tomorrow. It's for her most fervent supporters, ladies and gentlemen. It is a chance for you to be the first to lead so that others may follow, and so that you can show a true sign of your appreciation for everything Lady Thatcher has done to enable us to take this project forward to the next level. This project is to be my life's work. I intend to dedicate the rest of my life to it. I intend to make it a success. Lady Thatcher delivered. Now it's our turn. Thank you very much.